G'day, Jimmy here from Tom's Outdoors. Today we're going to go over how to fix your waders. See everything that the light touches? That is like the trophy water, Blowering Dam. All that stuff over there, really big cod and yellow belly too. We're going to catch one of those sooner than later. The opening of the trout season's just come and gone. Went out, walked in the water and realised that I have a hole in my waders. It actually turns out that I've got 2 holes in my waders. So we're going to go through today how we're going to try and find those holes, and then the gear that we're going to use to clean and fix those holes up so that our next session out is not going to be so wet. One of them, I noticed I had quite a wet bottom behind. I was able to get an idea of where that hole was once I actually took my waders off. Maybe it was a blackberry, maybe it was a Scottish thistle. So we're going to turn them inside out and have a look and see if we can actually find what's going on. Reference to the photo that I had taken, I know that there was water coming in around this area here, and it actually hasn't taken us too long to realise that some of the tapings come apart. And as I pull that apart a bit more, you can see quite clearly there that, yup. Looking back at the photos, that's where the wettest part was. As with all repair jobs, you want to make sure you've got a nice clean surface before you apply any adhesive. Today we're going to use a bit of rubbing alcohol. We're just going to load a little bit onto a clean rag and clean around the area where we're going to put our sealant. The product we're going to be using today is Repair Adhesive Aquaseal FD. It's the most appropriate for the job. We're going to get it nice and well seated up against the material itself and in the seam line underneath the tape. We're going to probably put a little bit more in than what we need because I want to make sure that it's not going to let water in once more. There isn't really any glorious way of doing this. I'm going to go in pretty heavy-handed because I've got quite a bit of area that's separated, and I'm just going to do a nice solid seam in there, making sure it comes right out. We want to create a nice seal over that. Actually going to push that down along that line there. We're going to really seal it in. There we go, that's looking pretty good there. Now, one of the particulars of this exact product here is you've got to leave it laying flat for 8 to 12 hours in order for the adhesive to cure correctly in the right area. Squeeze it in there. And I'm going to do the other little spot. That one's not as deep as what the others is. Lovely. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. We're going to let it work its magic. We're going to go on and try and find the second hole in my other leg. We're going to use a bit of rubbing alcohol again, and we're going to try and go through the process of it standing out as a contrast. Let's put that down. I've just loaded up my rag again, and I'm going to go over the areas here. There we go, that took not much time at all. You can see in there, that is quite clearly the hole that we have got to fix. For this repair, I'm going to use the Loon UV Wader Repair. This is a really good product to have in your car, in your fishing kit, because you can do repairs on the fly. Being a UV repair, you can use the sun up in the sky, or if you have in your fly tying kit, or separately one of the Loon UV lights. It's quoted it takes about 15 seconds to go off. So we're gonna give that another clean with some alcohol, make sure it's all nice and good, and we're gonna get a good seal, and then we're gonna use the sun to cure our resin today. In order to get accurate coverage with this UV wader repair here, I'm actually going to create a little bit of shade myself. Being a UV cured glue, if I do it in direct sunlight like this, it's going to go off before I have a chance to actually move the product around. I'm going to get the glue and quite simply put a nice dollop straight over the top, and I'm actually just going to work that and extend it around the area by about 5 mils on either side. Okay, so it still hasn't cured yet. I'm creating shade for it, so it's not going to go off. Lovely. Okay, we're going to expose it to the sunlight now. We're going to let the resin do its job. I'm just going to give that a little push down in there to smear it out. Already I can feel that's cured up nice and solid in the sun. So it cures in seconds, but it states that you need to leave it a little bit longer to get a nice permanent bond, so we're going to do that now. Alternatively, if you were in the shade, you'd turn your UV light on, sit it directly over the top of it, and hover around that area for sort of 30 seconds to really signify that the glue's going to go off. The one that we did on the seam here, we've got to let that cure for 8 to 12 hours ideally, and it has to be laid flat. That part's really key in order to make sure that the product's going to level out and really flow nicely. The UV cure, on the other hand here, something that you can have in your car, in your wader jacket, wherever it may be, is a quick fix. You ran into a blackberry, you unfortunately got hung up in barbed wire. You can put a dollop of this UV cure and get back on the water quickly. That part's key. The other, we can't do that quickly, unfortunately. It has to go through its processes. Thanks for joining us. Blowering Dam.
Flat?
Not really, but it's flat enough.